Airports are designed for one thing: movement. They are machines for processing humanity, bodies in transit, faces that blur, names that stop mattering the moment you step into the terminal. In that noise, an assassination can happen in plain sight, provided it is engineered to look like nothing at all. Because in an airport, everyone is watching the clock. No one is watching the person next to them. On February 13, 2017, a man steps into the departure hall of Kuala Lumpur International Airport. He is 45 years old. He travels under a passport that says Kim Jong-un, but that is a lie. He is early. He is alone. And he is waiting for a flight back to Macau, back into the safety of exile. He checks the departure board. He moves toward the automated kiosks. He doesn't know that his timeline has already run out. Within minutes, two strangers approach him from different angles. It happens fast. One lunges. One touches his face. It looks like a game, like they're filming a prank for social media. They smear something on his skin, and they walk away. No gunshot, no struggle, no screaming crowd. Just a man wiping his face, realizing too late that the wetness on his skin isn't water. The victim was Kim Jong-nam. To the public, he was a headline, the estranged half-brother of North Korea's leader. But in intelligence terms, he was something far more dangerous, an unresolved variable. He was the eldest son, a member of the Paektu bloodline, the source of the dynasty's legitimacy. And even though he lived outside the system, gambling in Macau, traveling through Asia, he represented an alternative. To the world, a spare heir is an insurance policy. To the regime, he is a loose thread. He had spent years surviving by staying irrelevant. He avoided politics. He lived quietly. He relied on the protection of foreign governments who saw him as a useful asset to keep in reserve. That is the paradox of exile. You stay alive by proving you are harmless. But some names can never be harmless. Some names cast shadows no matter where they stand. By 2017, reports suggest that funding was drying up. Protection was thinning. He arrived in Malaysia without bodyguards, a transit point, a hub, a place where anonymity usually guarantees safety. But anonymity is fragile when you are being tracked by a state. The attack itself is a masterclass in gray zone operations. It happens near the self-check-in counters. Review the CCTV. Two women, Siti Aisha from Indonesia and Duan Thi Huang from Vietnam, approach separately. They do not look like operatives. They look like travelers. One stands in front to distract, the other comes from behind. The contact lasts less than 3 seconds. Hands on face, smear, release. Kim is startled, but he doesn't collapse. He walks to the information desk. He explains that someone attacked him. He points to his eyes. He is lucid. He is walking. This is the crucial deception of chemical assassination. Bullets are immediate. Chemistry is a delay. The poison is already inside him, binding to his nervous system, but the external reality hasn't caught up yet. To the airport police, he looks like a man complaining about a rude prank. He is taken to the airport clinic. On the way, his walk begins to slow. His legs stiffen. He starts to sweat profusely. By the time he reaches the medical room, his body is shutting down. He suffers a seizure. He dies in the ambulance on the way to the hospital. The entire event, from contact to collapse, took less than 20 minutes. The toxicology report changed everything. Traces found on his face and eyes identified the substance as VX. VX is not a poison you buy on the street. It is a Schedule I chemical warfare agent, banned by international treaties. It is the most potent nerve agent in the organophosphate family. And crucially, it is not a gas. It is an amber, tasteless, odorless oil. Unlike gas, which disperses, oil clings. It absorbs through the skin. Once it enters the bloodstream, it targets an enzyme called acetylcholinesterase. This enzyme is the off switch for your muscles. Without it, your nerves keep firing. Every muscle in your body contracts and cannot relax. Your diaphragm locks frozen. You suffocate within your own chest. It is a terrifying, claustrophobic way to die. But this created a mystery. If the women touched him with their bare hands, why didn't they die? They rushed to the washrooms to scrub their hands, yes, but VX is incredibly fast-acting. Forensic experts and intelligence analysts pointed to a sophisticated delivery method, the binary weapon. The theory is that the two women were not carrying VX. One had precursor A, the other had precursor B, harmless individually. But when they mixed on Kim's face, they reacted to create the nerve agent instantly. The victim became the reaction chamber. The investigation pivoted to the assassins. Authorities arrested Siti Aisha and Duan Ti-hung, and their defense was as bizarre as the weapon. They claimed they were not assassins. They claimed they were actresses hired for a Japanese prank show. They said they had been recruited weeks earlier by men who claimed to be producers. They had practiced this prank, smearing baby oil or lotion on strangers, in shopping malls across Kuala Lumpur. They were paid a few $100s. It sounds absurd, but in the context of regional TV, just-for-laughs-style pranks were common. The producers filmed them. They encouraged them. They groomed them to be comfortable touching strangers. On the day of the attack, the oil was switched. The women believed it was another rehearsal. The men told them, "Wash your hands immediately after." Not because it was poison, but because it's oily and looks bad on camera. This is the brilliance of the operation. You don't need loyal agents to carry the weapon. You just need someone who needs money and doesn't ask questions. It is the ultimate layer of deniability. Separate the intent from the action. Make the visible actors disposable. Make the planners invisible. While the police were interrogating the women, the real architects were moving. Investigators identified 4 North Korean men present at the airport that morning. They positioned themselves at strategic vantage points to watch the attack. The moment it was done, they didn't go to the clinic. They went to the gate. They boarded flights leaving Malaysia immediately. Their escape route was a zigzag designed to confuse tracking. Jakarta, Dubai, Vladivostok, and finally, Pyongyang. By the time Malaysian authorities identified them and issued red notices, they were back on North Korean soil. They were ghosts. The investigation found that the quote producers were actually state agents. The quote prank was a cover for a military-grade chemical weapons deployment in a civilian hub. This left Malaysia in a diplomatic bind. They had the body, they had the women, but they couldn't touch the regime. North Korea denied everything. They refused to acknowledge the victim was Kim Jong-nam. They called him a citizen who died of a heart attack. Truth became a hostage to geopolitics. The ending of the story followed the rules of realpolitik, not justice. Pyongyang effectively took Malaysian citizens hostage in North Korea, barring them from leaving. To get their people back, Malaysia had to make a deal. They returned Kim's body to North Korea. They allowed the remaining suspects inside the embassy to fly home. The evidence was traded for safety. As for the women, they faced the death penalty. But as the geopolitical dust settled, the charges weakened. Without the masterminds, the prosecution of the pawns felt hollow. Siti Aisha had charges dropped. Duan Thi Hung pleaded to a lesser charge and was released. The courtroom resolved the visible part of the crime. The invisible part, the state order, the chemical source, the command structure, remained untouched. The assassination of Kim Jong-nam wasn't meant to be a mystery. It was meant to be a billboard. You don't use VX in an international airport if you want to be subtle. You use it if you want to demonstrate reach. It was a message to anyone else who might consider themselves an alternative to the regime. No matter where you go, no matter what passport you hold, no matter how harmless you try to be, we can touch you. This is what makes it chilling. The murder didn't rely on secrecy, it relied on speed. By the time the world understood the weapon, the planners were gone. By the time the courts opened, the deal was already cut. An airport is a machine for forgetting. Thousands of faces, thousands of exits. But that one camera angle captured a moment the world can't close. The operation was built to ensure that no matter what we see, we never get to touch the hand that signed the order. Only the hands that carried the oil.